for lesson 5-2. It's really not a whole lot different than what we've been doing. We're still solving equations, but we are going to have variables on both sides. Go back to those same rules we talked about when we started solving equations. Remember the three things I told you. First and foremost, your goal is to get the variable by itself on one side of the equation. Second is remember your opposite operations. Addition and subtraction undo each other, multiplication and division undo each other. And lastly, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. Keep it in balance. It's that old time balance scale. Keep it all in balance. So look at this problem. We have 5x plus 12 equals 2x. Now my first goal was to get the variable by itself. But look, I've got the variable on both sides of the equation. So I've got to get it, the variable, so it's only on one side. So somehow or another I've got to get those together. Well, it's following the same rules. If I wanted to get rid of 5x off of this side, what would I do? What's going to get rid of that 5x? Subtracting 5x, which I can do as long as I do it to the other side. Remember, whatever I do to one side, I've got to do to the other. So 5x minus 5x is just going to be 0, so those are canceling each other out. And 12 is equal to, what's 2 minus 5x? Well, that becomes plus a negative if you want to think of it that way. So that's going to be a negative 3x. Now this should be an equation that looks very familiar to you, and you should be able to solve that easily. I'm going to get the x by itself, what's attached to it, times negative 3. So I'm going to divide by negative 3. And 12 divided by negative 3 is a negative 4 is equal to x. Okay, just like before, you can check these by plugging them in. No excuse to miss these. So 5 times negative 4 plus 12 equals 2 times negative 4. All I did was plug in that negative 4 everywhere there was an x in my original equation. So negative 20 plus 12 equals negative 8. Is that true? Is negative 20 plus 12 negative 8? Yes, it is. So negative 8 equals negative 8, and I know it checked correctly. Okay? All right, look at another example. Here we go. 7x equals 5x plus 6. Again, I want to get the variable by itself, but it's on both sides of the equation. So what do? I can move one to the other side. In this case, I'm going to do it by subtracting 5x from both sides. Does it matter which one, if I move the 5x or the 7x? Not really. You're going to see that there's different ways to do these problems. You may work it differently than I do, but if you work it correctly, you're going to get the same answer. There's different ways of working the problem and still getting the same answer. So 5x minus 5x is 0, so those cancel each other out, leaving me with just 6. And 7x minus 5x is 2x. Now I want to get the x by itself. What's going to get rid of multiplying by 2? Dividing by 2. And I have to do it to both sides. So then x is equal to 3. Again, I can check my work. Is 7 times 3 equal to 5 times 3 plus 6? Well, 7 times 3 is 21. Does that equal 15 plus 6? Yes, it does. 21 equals 21. So I know it checked, and my answer is C. X is equal to 3. Okay, here's another one. 7x plus 3 equals 2x plus 23. All right, so 7x plus 3 equals 2x plus 23. Again, I've got a variable on both sides, so I've got to get those together first. All right, so what can I do to move one? I'm going to subtract 2x from this side, which is fine, as long as I come over here and do it to this side of the equation, that side of the equal sign. Those cancel out, leaving me with 23, and 7x minus 2x is 5x plus 3. Okay, what can I do to get rid of? Now I've got to get the x by itself. What's attached to it? Times 5 and plus 3. What did I tell you to always get rid of first in this case? Is the plus 3, the addition or subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So 5x is equal to 20. I got to divide both sides by 5, and then x is equal to 4. Again, you can check your work. Is 7 times 4 plus 3 equal to 2 times 4 plus 23? Excuse me, I'm trying to squeeze all that in there. Well, that's going to be what, 28 plus 3? Is that equal to 8 plus 23? Yes, they're both going to equal 31, so I know it checks and I have done it correctly. Okay? All right, you try this one. 4x plus 15 equals 2x minus 7. Pause the video, work this problem, and then come back and check it against mine. Okay, I'm assuming you've worked the problem, so let's work it out together. And again, you may have worked it differently than I have, and that's okay. There are different ways to work the problem, but you do have to come out with the exact same answer. Okay, there's only one answer, but different ways of working the problem. Okay, I've got to get my x's together, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Those cancel out, leaving me with a what? Don't forget that minus sign makes that a negative 7 on that side. 4x minus 2x is 2x plus 15. Now you just have a two-step equation that you know how to do. Get rid of the addition and subtraction first, so I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. So 2x is equal to negative 7 minus 15. If you want to make that plus a negative, you can. That's going to be a negative 22. Divide both sides by 2 to get the x by itself. So x is going to equal to negative 11. Check your work. 4 times negative 11 plus 15 equals 2 times negative 11 minus 7. Well, that's going to be a negative 44 plus 15 equals a negative 22 minus, that's a 2, can you tell? Minus 7. Is that true? Well, yes, they're both going to equal to a negative 29. So I know it checked and I worked my problem correctly. So my answer was C, negative 11. Okay, this will also can apply to some word problems. Look at this word problem. A car rental agency has two plans. Under Plan A, a car rents for $80 plus $20 each day. Under Plan B, a car rents for $120 plus $15 each day. Write and solve an equation to determine for what number of days the cost of the two plans will be equal. All right, so really, what am I looking for? What is it I don't know? Is the number of days when the two plans are equal. So I'm going to let x equal the number of days. Remember, defining your variables will always help you with these kind of problems. All right, so Plan A, how much does it cost me for Plan A? It's going to be $80 plus $20 times the number of days. So that's going to be 20x. What about Plan B? Okay, it cost me $120 plus $15 times the number of days. Okay, now the question is, what number of days are the two costs going to be equal? So let's set those equal. When does 80 plus 20x equal to 120 plus 15x? Okay, well, again, now I've got an equation just like we've been solving today. What am I going to do? I'm going to get my x's together first. I'm going to subtract 15x from both sides. All right, so those are canceling out, leaving me with 120. And then I've got what? 80 plus, what's 20 minus 15? 5x. Now I've got just a simple two-step equation to solve. Get rid of my addition and subtraction first, so I'm going to subtract 80 from both sides. Those cancel out. leaving me with 5x is equal to, what's 120 minus 80? That's going to be 40. I want to get the x by itself. I'm out of room down here. I'm going to try to squeeze it in, so I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So x is equal to 40 divided by 5 is 8. So that it's going to be 8 days. When you rent the cars for 8 days, both plans come out to be exactly the same. Okay? All right, one last one. You try this one, and then come back and check your work against mine and see how you do. All right, a cell phone provider offers 2 plans. Plan A, the monthly cost is $20 with a cost of 35 cents per minute. Under Plan B, the monthly cost is $35 with a cost of 15 cents per minute. What's the number of minutes results in the same cost? So what is that I don't know is the number of minutes. So I'm going to let x equal to the number of minutes. Okay? And here we go again, just like we did before. Plan A is going to be what? $20 plus 35.35 times the number of minutes. Plan B is going to equal to $35 plus 15 cents times the number of minutes. And I want to know at what number of minutes are those exactly the same. So I want to know when is 20 plus 0.35x equal to 35 plus 0.15x. Okay, now it's an equation just like we've been working. I've got an x on both sides. I've got to get my x's together. So I'm going to subtract from this side 0.15x, which is fine as long as I subtract 0.15x from this side. So those are canceling out, leaving me with 35. Over here I have 20 plus, when I subtract that, I'm going to get 0.20, or you could just put 0.2, that's fine, x. Okay, now I'm back to just a simple two-step equation. Subtract 20 from both sides. Those cancel out, leaving me with 0.20x, and 35 minus 20 is going to be 15. Okay, so dividing both sides, I'm going to move this over here. I hope this doesn't throw you, but let me just move it over here. Hold on, oh, wrong thing, here we go. So I have 0.20x equals 15. Divide both sides by 0.20. Alright, and x is going to equal to, you got to do your division. I'm going to try to squeeze it in over here. 15 divided by 0.2. I got to move my decimal place. Got to move it here. Alright, 2 won't go into 1, it'll go into 15 7 times. Okay, and it'll go into 10 5 times. So x is equal to 75 minutes. Okay, which is choice B, 75 minutes. Okay? Alright, so again, this is really nothing new. You just got a variable on both sides of the equation. So the first thing you have to do is get your variables together on one side of the equation. But remember those 3 things that I told you. Ultimate goal, get the variable by itself. Remember opposite operations, addition and subtraction undo each other, multiplication and division undo each other. And then remember, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you've got to do it to the other side as well. Okay? All right, have a good night. See you tomorrow.